expert in the area that you're trying to build a business in before your business goes live, so that you are already going to start driving traffic quickly, which will help, of course, with kind of sales and things like that. So I am just going to, if everyone, okay, you're back.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear us?
I can hear you, yes. Sorry about that.
Okay, I'm not sure what's happening with her, so I'm going to carry on while she tries to work that out. So I'm sure she's moving again. Okay, I'm going to keep going. So one of the questions that we got that hopefully I can help with is, how do we win the trust of clients as a salon that we are safe? I've constantly shared the various safety initiatives on social media that we have taken in the salon, but there seems to be no difference. I think, look, the reality is at the moment we are in a situation where a lot of people don't trust what's going on outside of their own homes, and that isn't a fault of yours, and it's not a fault of what you're doing. I think you have to respect that decision of people, and it is going to impact everybody's business. But all you can do is keep talking about safety, but also win people's trusts from a comfort point of view as well. So, you know, what you're providing as a salon is a haven for people to come to relax, to get away from the kids, to get away from home, to spend an hour by themselves. Use those kind of things to get people to want to come to the salon as well. Safety is important to people, but you can also use other things that are important to them to try and encourage them to come into the salon. So I think, of course, keep talking about what you're doing in terms of safety, but you also need to think about what are the other things that would make someone choose to leave the house and come to the salon. And I think the reality is, yes, of course, there are going to be large numbers of people that just don't want to leave their homes and go to a salon yet, and that's nobody's fault other than the fact that the virus is what the virus is, and we can't change people's mindsets until they're ready. But I think if you use examples on your social media, if you create imagery in your salon, quotes, things like that, that will make people feel like, yes, that's where I want to go. I do need that hour away from the kids. I do need to get my hair done. It is important that I spend a couple of hours doing some self-care. Then maybe that will help to slowly make people feel like, yes, it is, I should be going there. It is safe enough. I should kind of get over my fear and go so that I can enjoy some time. But I think from a safety point of view, all you can do is keep sharing what you're doing. Try and make it fun. Use boomerangs and gifts and things like that of you kind of like putting your gloves on, or pictures with you and the team and your masks. Make it personal, make it friendly. But I do think there will be an element of people just not willing to take the risk at the moment, and there's not much you can do about that, unfortunately. So Tash is back. Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I think we are all good. So a couple of questions that I think are probably best for you to with. We were going to talk about, first of all, any fun stories that we've got of emails that we've received from people over the last couple of weeks. Have we had anything that stands out to you?
Not overly. I mean, we've had some like fun things happen, obviously, like mishaps and things during, sessions, but I can't think of anything off the top of my head yet. The most, I think our, vaginal steaming 101 is probably the most out there session we're running, which we've had a few comments about, but honestly that's a really fascinating topic. I myself, like 3 times, I was like, no, we're not doing this, and then I actually had a conversation with Liberty, who I think might be here this morning, and
I think she is, yeah,
and it is so fascinating, and I am a steaming convert myself, so definitely tune into that one, but otherwise,
well,
no.
we did change the name, didn't we, to make some people happier. We took the word vagina out, so yeah. I think yeah, but we are big advocates of being very open and honest about these things. I mean, we have clients that are moon cups, and we're very close to Liberty, and so we are very proud to talk about all things womanhood, but some people don't like to be closely associated with vaginal steaming, which is their prerogative, I guess, but they're wrong. So Need to ask Tash, what are your 3 takeaways from the current world economic situation?
I think that's a tough one. You can't put me on the spot like that. I think we've all learned a lot business wise. I definitely have. It will change the way I run a business going forward. And I think, I think it's going to get us into a really kind of, I think we'll see some changes in the way we do business. I think the whole remote working and the fact we can work in different ways, it is something that we'll definitely take out of this. Do we need to be in offices? And already, we're seeing the government talking about, do we need offices to have licenses? So I think there will be a shake up in the way we generally work as teams. I also think in terms of community and collaboration, that will be one of the biggest. I truly, we've always been super collaborative as an agency, even with other PR agencies. I personally believe there's so much work to go around, and that we can, collaboration, you're stronger together. And I do think we will see this a lot going forward in the way we do business too. And a lot of the initiatives we have launched, like SME Rise Collective, all kind of play into this as well. And then, I do think that, I've got quite a lot of clients that are kind of, in the sort of, we're working with in the whole, like, with Mimi about empathy. And, we've got our coach, Dennis, who's got a very different way of kind of, looking at kind of the world. And I think we hopefully, in the majority of cases, we will come out of this kind of a bit kinder, and a bit kind of, we will look at how we interact with people and step into their shoes a little bit more as well. So maybe there are a bit of softer things, but in terms of, I do think in terms of behavior changes and what comes after this, I do think there's some of the key ones that I've taken out of it, and that I kind of, hope to see going forward.
Yep. Someone says, anonymous, how much do engagement rates impact relationships between brands and influencers? I'll start, and then Tash, you can. I think it's funny with brands and with clients. A lot of people are still on the client side, very driven by the number of followers that an influencer has, which we try and explain to people is not the most important metric to be looking at. We always try and get our clients to really look at engagement rates, and also the type of engagement that they're getting. What is it that consumers, and people are asking influencers? Are they asking for their advice? Are they asking for tips? How engaged are they with the content that these influencers are creating? And I think that, from my point of view, engagement is the most important metric to follow, and it should be the way that brands look at who they work with from an influencer point of view. I mean, there are influencers out there that have got millions of followers, and we work with brands that are very much based in the UAE and trying to increase their sales across the UAE. But a lot of these influencers with millions of followers, their followers outside of the UAE, so there's a massive amount of drop off for relevant consumers when you do a deep dive. So I think, Tash has always said this, and we've started the TishTash 500 Club, which has stalled slightly since we've kind of gone into lockdown, but it is something that we will be kind of going full steam ahead with post-lockdown. But we really believe in the importance of the micro-influencer, and if you look at the engagement rates of micro-influencers, they tend to be much higher than those of, the big influencers. So I hope that answers the question. Tash, anything to add to that one?
Not really. I mean, yeah, I am a big, fan of the micro influencer, and I think, some of the if we look at kind of campaigns with clients, we get some of the best results with those who have like 6 to 30,000, but also have engagement rates, that are, significantly higher. And we look at a lot of the community groups that we work with, and they're some of the most powerful influencers in our community now. We look at Real Mums, they have a 90% engagement rate, like Big Beauty Scoop. They also have like really, it's like 70, 80%. It's like, when the average like influencer has, between 1 and 5%, some even like the big ones lower, you have to kind of look at that and look at the results, because we've got so many case studies about ROI with the kind of which prove it time and time again that numbers in terms of followers really are not a good indicator at all. And there are some people that just want to be able to say, I was covered by Huda Beauty, I was covered by someone with 500,000 followers, but it really, yes, in terms of brand awareness and kind of it's important, but also if you really want to drive sales and have impact for your business, then you need to look at those that actually convert in this market or the market you're in.
Exactly. All right. What question from Teresa? She says, "Morning, Tash.
Morning,
we are a profit for purpose business. On the impact side, if we had to choose one area to spend more time on raising our profile, which would it be? i.e., PR, marketing, digital, or are they all? Or are there any other economical ways? We've gone a bit old school with pictorial learning, but also some online Zoom, YouTube, bite-sized WhatsApp videos, etc."
I mean, I think particularly with what you're doing, it's about trust. And so, PR really does play an important role in that. So traditional PR through profile building, I think is definitely, something that you need to look at, because, people buy people. But likewise, being real and personable on your social media, will really help people get the true measure of you as well. Spend time. LinkedIn as well is so powerful these days. So I really kind of, I do think it is a blend of different things. Obviously, if you're an online business, digital is like, you need to be there. But, I mean, it's about touch points. I always say, people need to see the average of 3 touch points to consider, supporting you, working with you. So you've got to think about, where you are coming up. But if you are particularly for non-profit, people really need to trust and have that. And so that credibility through thought leadership, through being out there, seen there in media, taking part in panels is really important. I'm not sure if you've got anything to add there, Polly.
No, I think, and I touched on this before, I think personal profiling is so important. People believing in the brand that you create, and people buy people. And I think after lockdown and after the pandemic, people are going to be craving that human understanding and that human connection even more. And I think now is the time to spend a little bit of time building that personal side of your brand and what it is that you stand for as a person. What do you believe in? What are your goals and dreams, and what do you want for your business? And really, and I think Tash is a big advocate of LinkedIn, and we're starting to see as something that we need to do for our clients as well on a PR front, is actually push LinkedIn. I think everyone's become very obsessed with Instagram as being kind of the key channel, but the reality is when it comes to driving business growth, LinkedIn really is the way forward. So Instagram has got a very important place, of course, in terms of brand awareness, influencer engagement, but in terms of your own brand and really building your brand profile and converting that into sales, you really need to be using LinkedIn. And there's so many resources online. It's very easy to find ways to kind of create a really good LinkedIn profile, start writing your own thought leadership, stuff like that. And these things you can do by yourself. You don't necessarily need a PR agency for some of these things. So of course we would always recommend using a PR agency, but we know at the moment times are tough for a lot of people. So yeah.
And we definitely are seeing one of the biggest areas of new business we're getting at the moment is personal profiling, when I think people have a little bit more time to invest. They usually don't kind of, so that's something that we're doing a lot of for clients, and which is, I'm really enjoying. And, and I've been spending a lot more time on it myself. I know how powerful LinkedIn, but sometimes, I always find, we're not, as marketers, we're not always that good at following the game ourselves. So I've been spending lockdown doing, a lot of work on LinkedIn. I've been writing regular articles, and it's, it really have had some amazing leads and amazing kind of connections come through. So no, I'm definitely massive advocate of LinkedIn generally, but now I do think it's a really good time to start and, on your own profiling, because there are some really good opportunities. And I think at the end of this, one of the biggest things is people do buy people. People will look at behavior and what you did during this time. Like those who read my diary know that I talk all the time about, this being a very good time to show the true measure of people, and when people are backed into corners and in difficult times, we're seeing the best of behavior and we're seeing the worst of behavior. So, it is a really, really good time to think about, what are people seeing about you out there? How are you being perceived? Because when we start to come through this, people will choose very, very carefully where they put their money. And, I think there will be definitely a big